What would y'all say is the difference in what we do? Because I feel like we all, once again, are pretty nosy. We ask questions and, we either have been on platforms where we got to speak to people or have our own or both. And I've always wondered what's the difference at this, like basically in this day and age between a podcaster, a reporter, and then like you could say a media person or a correspondent. Because when you said correspondent, that's something I used to say I wanted to be. What's good, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of The Highlight Reel. Today, I have some special guests with me. It's my friend Tyrik and my friend Rachel. And this is going to be a very interesting episode because all of us work in media. We all do media things. We have similar backgrounds somewhat, but we have very different backgrounds at the same time. And we're going to get into that on this episode. And I'm looking forward to it. So I'm going to be a gentleman. I'm going to go ladies first. Rachel, tell the people a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do, all that stuff.
Okay. Hi, my name is Rachel Williams, a.k.a. Rach Ash Will, and I am a hip-hop media correspondent. I'm also a founder of a women's empowerment org, so I work in the nonprofit sector as well. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. And then Tyrik, you tell the people about yourself.
Dope. What it do? So it's your boy Tyrik. I'm a national news anchor here at iHeartRadio for Black Information Network. So you can check me out nationwide on all the channels, major cities across the nation. Also national journalist on the hit television show Fatal Attraction on TV One and For My Man on TV One. And you can check me out on Snapped on Oxygen. And I got a book out. I'm the vice president. A whole bunch of broadcasts for the Atlanta Association of Black Journalists. And I do a whole bunch of other stuff that we probably gonna get into later. So
okay, cool.
We got his resume.
And then once again, my name is Jariah. I'm the host of The Highlight Reel. I studied journalism in college a little. Well, we'll touch on that, but I don't have as much to say about that. I have over 60 plus episodes as of this moment. And yeah, I love media. I'm into all kinds of things media. I've definitely been interested in what both of y'all do, but I didn't end up doing that. And we'll kind of get into that a little bit. So I want to preface this conversation with letting y'all know that, usually I'm asking plenty of questions to the people, but since we all ask questions, I want y'all to feel free to ask questions. I think it's going to be interesting in how we ask questions, what we're asking about, how we say our questions, whatever, different things like that. So, but first off, let's go ahead and get into college really quick. So I started without a major in college, then I studied journalism in the School of Mass Communication and in the School of Journalism and Mass Communication. What did y'all study in college?
I majored in political science and minored in comms.
Okay. You studied political science and minored in comms.
Yeah.
You majored in, okay. Mm-hmm. What about you?
I majored in journalism, minored in film and media.
You majored in journalism, minored in film and media. Okay. Then I left journalism because I wasn't fond of having to write stories for people. Like I love to interview and I love to talk to people, but I didn't like having to write their story.
So you like being on camera?
Yes, I do like being on camera. I was on a TV show in college and I loved doing that. But like I like doing that because that was fun. And I had a radio show. So being around music and different things like that, that was fun.
So you didn't like to write?
Yeah, we're getting to it. There we go. I didn't like to write. So do y'all like to write?
Oh, and I love, this is my favorite question. Yeah. No, because literally, like, I'll tell people I'm a journalist and they're like, oh, really? Like, what do you write about? Right. Yeah. So a lot of people, especially, I went to college in 2021. Yeah. That's really when I went into the journalism field. And when I got my first project, it was, it goes into published, wherever it goes from there, whether it be magazines or into a book. Which is where my work went. So when people hear that I have 3 chapters in a book forwarded by Oprah, they think that I wrote it. No, I did the interview and it was translated on copy. So I've never, outside of my political research and, work that I have published from that avenue, I never had to put pen to paper. I went into automatically just verbalizing, doing interviews, footwork like that. Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Okay. when I was in school, when I took my first writing courses, my first couple of articles, I got Fs. So it wasn't even it wasn't.
Oh man.
Yeah, it really wasn't my thing. And I was like, yeah, at first I was like, shoot, am I even a real journalist if I can't write a journalism lab and stuff like that and like getting some help and stuff. So I got better at it and stuff like that. But then I was like, I mainly just want to be on air. Like if I have to write, I mean, I'll write, but
yeah.
See, and I always had a hard time with that because, like I said, I was on a radio show in college, and I wanted to be on the radio. When I first had after I had my episode, because I was thinking, bro, this felt like a step in the right direction. It felt like that's where I was supposed to be, but it seemed like when I was trying to get into radio outside of college, it seemed like the whole. Like how you kind of see in movies, if you want to be on air, you got to be an intern, go get people their coffee and all that stuff. And I just...
like what? Absolutely. That's exactly how it works.
But is that... are y'all... How y'all feel about that? Are y'all okay with that? Okay. I didn't feel right about that.
About internships?
Well, so when it seems like when they want you to be an intern, the things that you have to do don't necessarily seem to relate to the work. Like you kind of just running errands for people. Now I didn't intern, so maybe take this with a grain of salt. But because I didn't, and it seemed like that's what it was, I was thinking, okay, so I'm gonna be in this job not even doing anything that pertains to the work.
Okay, I feel double-sided about this.
Okay.
Because I am a firm believer in that you need to get the experience before you just feel like you're supposed to get behind the mic. I think that's a big problem, especially with our generation. We do not believe in doing the footwork, and
no, that's facts.
We don't. We just want to be at the top immediately. Like, put me in a booth, and the people before you had to earn their stripes. They had to be going on, learn. You have to have that. It's just a part of the process. Now, I will say, I don't believe in free work. I believe interns should be paid. Pay the interns. Pay the interns. They're doing the work you don't want to do, and you know that. Just how the person before you had to do the work that they didn't want to do. But yeah, pay the interns, but internships are necessary.
Okay. Yeah. You feel the same?
I do, to a certain extent. So like, I agree. Like, I don't like going to get the coffee internships and stuff like that. Now, if you're doing an internship, you actually need to be doing the real work. Like I know if you...
Yeah, no, that's busy work. Yeah. And I think that's also just kind of, misuse of internships.
Yeah.
And I agree.
That I ain't agree with you on though.
Okay.
So I got a video production company, right? And I got interns. I don't pay my interns. I don't.
Should we grill them?
Should we? So, okay. Wait, pause. So this is...
Why?
Yeah, let's hear the reason why.
Budget.
Okay.
So to be clear, so I understand, you're saying that, yes, it's in the budget. It would chew a large part of the budget. Therefore, you just chose not to pay the interns.
Exactly.
Wow.
And I'm going to tell you, and I feel, and I'm not even going to hold you. I feel that I actually get better quality interns, and I think that they do better work.
When they're not paid.
I do.
You really believe that?
Wait, pause. Have you tried to pay your interns to test this theory?
Ooh. I have. Now, I'm going to tell you what I do. No, let me tell you what I do. I'm going to tell you what I do. I have, they come and work. And then after the internship, they have a chance to actually like get a paid position and like become an independent contractor.
So how long do you usually keep
internships? Internships, whatever that semester, like I'll do spring semester, fall semester.
Okay. So about 4 to 5 months.
Yeah.
Did you experience that as an intern?
I got paid.
Oh, so you were...
Come on, Tyrik. Bro.
You were a paid intern.
I was a paid intern. I was a good paid intern.
That is insane.
I had a good paid intern.
You was kind of on to something.
I was making. How much was I making that?
And now you're gonna talk about how much you was making?
I don't remember how much I made as an intern. I think I made like $12 an hour, $17, something like that.
That's more. That's 12 more than zero.
Yeah.
That's, you know what? I ain't gonna grill him too crazy. Yeah, but
okay. I'm gonna let you live.
But that's so okay. When y'all were in college, matter of fact, since we kind of on it, you said you did intern while you were in college?
Yeah.
Okay, and you did intern?
I did, but I interned in politics.
Okay, you interned in politics.
Just as abusive.
I never interned anywhere actually, and I can see how that hurt me. But I know for me, I was supposed to get an internship. Or people would say you needed one to graduate. Mm-hmm. You didn't need one, but it would help. Yeah. And I said, well, if I don't have to, then I won't, bend over backwards to try and get an internship. Okay. I'll try and get one, but if I can't, I'm going to graduate and I'm just going to go make it happen. So how was your experience as far as being an intern?
I mean, for me, like I said, I feel like I got the experience I needed from what I was interested in. Even when I angled into politics, like even though the work, it wasn't unpaid, but it could have been paid a little bit more. It could have been paid. The pay could have been a little bit more. But even then, I feel like the job offers were worth me doing the work that I did for what I was offered. So it was a fair trade. Okay.
Because when I hear about interns, so I did intern somewhere after I graduated, and that was cool. There were reasons why I didn't want to keep working there, but I was paid. Like I was paid, and that was beneficial, and I did appreciate that. But it's just interesting what happens to interns. It's like, okay, when you tell people that you want to move up, and then you hear some people say, well, we kind of have you here for a reason and to stay here. That's not how that goes. So I'm just saying that happens. I'm not saying whether or not that happened to me, but
I mean, first of all, when you're working for any corporation, you have the con is that you can be limited. Limited to what you say, limited to the jobs that you get, the opportunities that you have. There is limitations because you're in a workplace with competition, people who've already been in the game, experience, etc. And then also you never know what other bias factors are playing a role as to why somebody might want you to stay here or not say this, etc. So there's many factors when it comes to working for certain companies that have to align with what you see for yourself in your career path.
You agree? You feel the same?
I do. I agree. It's like that.
I guess I hear you. It's just on one end it sounds like I just told you what I'm trying to do and you kind of just backhanded what I said. You know what I'm saying?
Because why would they care what you're trying to do? It's $1 million company.
They don't care.
It's not.
They don't care about your dreams and aspirations and what you want to do in their business.
So it's not like I even have to get all that deep about it.
It depends on who you with though. It depends.
Okay. That's a good point. That's a good point.
Because not everybody is like that.
Yes, of course.
I'm just thinking, like, let's say I tell you I want to grow as to a different position at some point, and you kind of go against that. I get confused by that.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are we doing?
Because they like I'm gonna tell you a prime example, right? So in the journalism industry, right, you got sometimes certain be on air and I want to be at a show, and that's it, and that's how I be.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why?
It's just how it is.
That
it don't make sense. But
okay, cool.
Right, but.
You know what? Since that's how it is, maybe that plays a part into why I started a podcast. It's like, well, I can, as y'all have seen, I can pull up and shoot whenever I want, wherever I want. So I can tell you what I want to be, and I can actually go do that thing compared to me telling you what I want to be, and you're like, okay, I heard that, but I don't care. This is what we want.
Well, yeah, baby, that's entrepreneurship. But also, I mean, you know what that comes with. That means that the funding is coming out of your pocket.
True.
Yeah. And that's a defining factor. You know what I'm saying? You're paying yourself if you are getting paid, production, your setup, your editor, you're the whole nine. That's the trade-in.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hear you, but no, you're making good points, honestly. But those are just some of the problems that I have had as far as trying to maybe even work in different places in media.
Absolutely.
So yeah, but so you're still in journalism. Would you say that you are?
So I after I was done with college, I had an offer in New York and then I turned it down. And I was like, well, I'm going to move to Atlanta.
And why did you turn that down?
Because I don't like trains, crackheads, or
you said rats?
And rats. Trains, crackheads, and rats. I can do one at a time, but all three as a combination is too much for me to handle. And the pay there is just not enough to deal with those three things.
The cost of living crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah, New York, wild.
If you're in New York, I'm so sorry. I heard there's a flood coming. None of my business, but
crazy work.
So basically, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to move to Atlanta because I was in Alabama. So this was the mecca for like Black, moguls in entrepreneurship and journalism. And then I didn't do anything for 2 years. Yes. And this process was God removing me from careerism. I was so serious in careerism. Like I was going to go to law school and then I was going to take down all the private prisons. I was intense with it. Yeah. And God was like, no, baby, I got other plans for you. So therefore, how do I remove myself from that? So I transitioned, for a while, I was just still. I lost 137 pounds, and that's a
shout out to you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
that's a mental, physical, big change.
Yeah.
So one day, I started going to Def Jam events. Shout out to Def Jam. I started going to Def Jam new artist events. The first event I just watched, I looked around and saw how everything worked. The second event I just watched, I looked around. The third event, I showed up. Yeah, I was in the room, and I was like, I'm gonna go on the carpet and give an interview. They were like, who are you? The person was giving an interview, and I went from doing like 3 carpet interviews to I was sitting at the desk. Then I was at festivals, behind the scenes, doing interviews with artists. And I ended up racking up all of these interviews under my belt in a matter of like 6 months. Just really great, prominent artists.
That's what's up.
Yeah, and that was all the finesse of myself. There's no I'm walking to festivals and I say, hey, yeah, I'm media. It's all about the finesse, and when you move like you're supposed to be in the room, they just assume you're supposed to be in the room.
Yeah, it's something about that walk too. Like when you have that walk and you look like you belong and you're supposed to be there, you're gonna get in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, so wait, how are y'all getting paid? I swear. I was like, wait, something's missing.
Like I just interviewed this person and it's like
I got all these interviews, right? So I was like, okay, well, for me, my next phase outside of like the background where you have to get you an agent and you have to get you a that's the background stuff you have to get into. While I'm doing that, I start thinking, who is Charlemagne? Name somebody here in Atlanta who's big as Charlemagne.
I can't think of anybody.
Think about it.
Bigger than Charlemagne?
Big ass.
No ass for Atlanta. So the way he's from Ohio and he'll hear Charlemagne and he knows he'll connect Charlemagne to where?
New York?
New York.
Yeah.
Who are you doing that for here in Atlanta?
Oh, like who's as big as him? Like here in Atlanta?
When you think of a media face.
A media face.
If you don't have it off the top of your head like that, it doesn't exist. I'm so sorry. Shout out to all the women and men in media here in Atlanta. Y'all are holding it down. But I'm coming for you. So essentially my goal is, how do I become
the face
in the next 5 to 10 years?
I like that. I like the way you think. I like that because I thought about that at one time. I was like, when people think of media, like I need them to think of Tyrik.
Literally.
Yeah.
Is he? Are we having a moment?
Because like same thing you was talking about. Like I've been getting them. My interview's different, but like I've been getting them celebrity interviews too, and I've been racking them up and stuff. And
that's what I was
having iHeart behind me. Literally to open up so many doors is crazy.
Yeah. So I think then that's also the transition phase of having that brand or that company behind you to really push you, especially when I have identified what you want for yourself and where you want to be in the industry. Mm-hmm. For me, I'm here to connect with the people this year. The people really need to know me. And I have a game plan for how they'll get to know me and how I introduce myself to the city of Atlanta. But it will be people to people content, So when people see me on the street, they're like, oh, that's Ray Chash Will. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yes. So that's the goal, 5 to 10 years. So that's a lot of footwork.
Have we talked about this way that you're going to connect with people?
We have, and we won't be
I won't. Yeah, I won't. I remember I grilled you about it.
No, you did. But hopefully when I put it in this context of why I'm going that route and why it's taking the time it's taking, it's because it has to be good.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be perfect.
Yes.
But it has to be quality because I'm coming from, I'm a girl, I'm from DC, I'm DMV, right? DMV. Been living here. Okay. And I'm coming in y'all house like, I'm coming to take over 5 to 10 years, sit back. So you have to make sure that when you do stuff like that.
You got that attitude.
For real.
You got to make sure when you come in like that, you come correct. You can't have step. You have to give the people what they want and what they're going to keep on coming back to. So that's why it's just taking some time.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is Rach Ashwill. She is coming with it, as you can see. I did want to talk a little bit more about your red carpet experiences and things like that.
Okay. My red carpet experience has been crazy. I'm going to tell you, a lot of them been good, a lot of them been bad. I can tell you. I'm going to talk about the bad experiences first, and then I'm going to fast forward to the good stuff. So on these red carpets, man, it's a lot of politics. And sometimes it's a little racism too. Right. So I can tell you, for example, I did the Pro Bowl red carpet back in 2019. Right. And that was in Orlando. So I did that And it was this white blonde publicist on the red carpet. Put me at the end of the carpet. I'm the only black person on the carpet. And so everybody else on the carpet is getting these interviews, right? And then when the person get to me, she hurry up and like rush them off the carpet, right? So I'm like, so I've had to deal with stuff like that. I've had to deal with being on the end of the carpet sometimes, just because like when I was coming up, you know, I was creating my own content, doing my own thing and stuff like that. And so it was just kind of hard to make it and get a name. And sometimes it was hard to just even get in these carpets and like, you know, let the people know that I deserve to be there. But then once I came to iHeart, that's when like, you know, my career started to like really elevate and stuff like that. And now when I go to carpets, I'm like first or second on the carpet. I'm getting
that's hard. That's what's up.
I'm getting the big time celebrities and stuff, man. And the experiences has been dope though. But I will say, if you're gonna be on the carpet, this is my advice. If you're gonna be on the carpet, know who coming on the carpet. Know a little bit about somebody about the event and stuff like that, because there's times where I've seen people on the carpet, they'll get embarrassed because they don't know this, or they may have stated this fact wrong and stuff like that. Like I had a carpet moment. I'm not going to talk about it.
How old are you?
I'll be 24 this month.
And you said early in your career?
Yeah. Oh, I've been doing this since I was a teenager.
Like when?
Like 16. I started my own YouTube channel, and that's when
you were on carpets? Like, or
I didn't get on carpets till I was
19,
17, 18. Yeah.
You said you started at 16 and you got on one at 17.
Yeah.
So you was getting on them pretty fast.
Yeah.
Slight flex. I hear you though. Okay. Did you talk about the good experiences?
Oh, the good experiences.
Let's talk about those.
Question though, before you got into that.
What's up?
So would you I want to make sure I ask this correctly. Would you advise other young Black journalists that they need a bigger brand behind them in order to get to the level that they want to get?
That's a good question. I would say you don't need it. You don't need it. But I'm gonna say I say it probably get you there quicker though.
Of course.
Okay, that's
quicker, a little quicker success. But and I'm not saying like don't do your own, because I'm all for doing your own thing. I tell people all the time, like if you can't, like if there for whatever reason you see you can't get hired at a company or somebody try to deny you, do your own stuff.
Yeah.
Because if you create your own content and you continue to do that, eventually you're gonna elevate.
Yep.
It's some people out here like it's this look, you probably done seen it. It's this little girl. Her name she like Jazzy.
Oh yeah,
Jazzy is killing it, yo. Crazy. And Jazzy got her own like little show and all her little stuff. And I be looking at her stuff and I'm like, yo, like she got it.
Yeah.
And she don't need to be at nobody company. Like she got her own thing, yo. So just stuff like that. You can eventually build up to stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know.
I do believe some people have enough character, right, to really propel them faster than others. There's very like people who are, because it's one thing to be talented in your profession, like be a good person who can ask great questions or be very professional, but when you have character, flair, charisma, people are drawn to that even more. It's like people like, I need more of that. So I feel like that those type of people always shoot for the stars.
Personality gonna get you far. I'm gonna tell you that.
You think so?
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you,
like over skill.
Actually, yes, because and I'm not gonna say no names, but it's some people that's in this industry that's not really talented, but they got followers and they got personality.
Yes,
and they here.
I agree,
and I ain't knocking them, but I'm just saying that's just how it is sometimes. If you got personality and you got the numbers and you know some folks, you in there.
Yeah, I've met people who have been journalists for a while, and they never even done half the things I did in 5 months.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so why do you think you got to do that? I would say because it's the audacity that you have to just try stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I've never been one to ask where I can be. I just walk in and I do what I want to do.
And that's the right attitude. That's going to get you places.
You think so?
Absolutely.
Like that? That's.
I mean, no, it does.
Has that never backfired?
Never.
Have you ever done that? Like kind of had that same attitude,
like walk in the room.
Oh yeah,
I've been kicked
out a couple. Did it? I mean, it happened, yo. But hey, I mean, I had that confidence, and I went in there anyway. But like that's the thing, you can't be. It's just like in dating, you can't be afraid to be rejected.
But at the same time, we have two different sets of privileges here.
Yeah,
great point.
I abuse my pretty privilege. I'm going to use it up. I'm going to smile at the security. Oh, I'm damsel in distress, lost my band, all of that. And it works every time.
Yeah.
Before we continue to move on, I wanted to ask you, because like I said, when I think of red carpets when I think of you first. Mm-hmm. So what are some good experiences and some bad experiences that you've had on red carpets?
My favorite experience was Maya the Dawn. Maya the Dawn did my drop. Yeah. She
and that was at Revolt World, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And I remember her manager or whoever was there at the time was just like, oh no, she has to go. She can't. And she was like, let her get an interview. Mm-hmm. And
I would have loved that.
Oh my God, it was so kind. She was just the nicest, sweetest. Who else have I good at? Oh, Seti Hendricks. Seti Hendricks is a great personality. He's so down to earth. Tay Savage out of Chicago. People think that he's like real rough. I'm not one of those people who I want to take an interview with everybody. I do a lot of reading the room. Okay. I want to read your energy. I want to see how you interacted with the journalists before me. And if you are off-putting, I don't want to interview with you. Because I'm running the risk of now what? I have a bad interview under my belt? All because, I could have passed. Mm-hmm. So I did have one encounter where it went well. Like it looks great on film. It's actually, I have it like posted, but we had to edit that because some of her facial expressions at me was just like, you want to fight? Yeah. You want to fight? I'm confused. Am I interrupting you? You got somewhere to be? Okay. But other than that, it's been pretty smooth. I'm always very welcoming and warming. I congratulate a guest. You know what I'm saying? I, lighten the mood. A lot of people are very awkward.
Yeah.
So awkward. If you're not used to interacting with strangers, you probably shouldn't go into journalism, like interview journalism.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
And that's why I think it's kind of funny because our first interaction, which I feel like I joke around about a lot, but we were at Revolt World. Mm-hmm. I was minding my business with somebody else, talking to somebody else. Mm-hmm. And I remember you just walked up to me and you started talking to me. Mm-hmm. I was like, who is this girl? Because I didn't know how to take it. I was like, oh, this is a woman coming to me. She got questions for me. Is this like a interest type thing? Or is this like she's genuinely interested and is curious and has some questions for me? But either way, I was intrigued. So I was like, oh, what you got? And I just basically indulged in whatever you had. Yeah. Then of course I started asking questions back. Think we learned the questions. Right. And we might be able to do a podcast together or something like that. Yeah. So that made a lot of sense to me. And I was like, once I saw the work that you do, I said, well, she actually did that to me. So that actually makes so much sense that that's what she does because I saw that firsthand. Yeah. Certified yapper. Yeah, I think that's hilarious. Oh, but also what I wanted to touch on was like with red carpets and things like that, that's shorter form content. Whereas for me, like I've never really done a red carpet. I've never done anything like that. Not saying I can't, because I've definitely done content where I'm shooting with people in the streets and I'm asking those questions. That's kind of similar in a way, but I typically do longer form content. So I guess my question for y'all is, do y'all think y'all would have a hard time doing longer form content? Because I think I've seen something from you and I know you do have a podcast. We haven't seen your platform yet. Even the game show is quick. Yeah. Like I'm not sitting there on the street asking you 1,000 questions. It's 3 rounds, 3 questions, first round, 2 rounds, second 2 questions, 1 round, 1 question. And we're shooting like 11, 15 at a time in one, you know what I'm saying, one day. That's what's up. Yeah. Me, I do both, right? Yeah. So sometimes like I'll do red carpets out in the field and stuff, but a lot of times people come here. And so people will come here and I'll interview them in one of the studios. Those will be like 30 minutes. So no, I do have those type of interviews though. So like I have interviews that I'll get from like going to events or whatever, the carpet interviews. But then, once you have your plugs in the industry, you sit down with artists based on connecting with their manager. Have y'all ever heard of the name Eugene Shelton? Sound familiar? Yeah. He was like, so this is one of my professors at Kent State. Okay. And he taught this class called Media, Power, and Culture. There were many teachers for it, but he was the teacher I had, and he was one of my favorite teachers I ever had. And because you brought up a publicist, if I'm not mistaken, he was a publicist for a lot of people, like a lot of important people. He was a publicist for, like he worked with Michael Jackson at one point. I think Michael Jackson, Mike Tyson, Ice Cube, maybe. I don't want to butcher the names, but he had a lot of people. Like, when I remember when he was telling us that at my school, I was like, dang, this dude got cred, like real life credibility with some of the people that he's worked with. Because I would go in his office and see all these names. I was just wondering if y'all knew that name. That was all. Because if y'all did, I'd be like, okay, so my teacher revered. Like, that'd have been cool.
Question for you.
Okay.
And you get to your 100th episode of this, right?
Right.
What's your then what look like?
I mean, okay. What's my then what look like?
Right. Like, outside of podding, like, what's next as far as you and media?
As far as me and me, I mean, I would say growing this, and I always try to keep improving it. So, like, when I went from having, one angle to multiple angles,
right,
or I went from having one mic to 5 mics, or being able to shoot things, kind of being able to be adaptable. So I can shoot long form. I can also be out on the streets and shoot quick questions with people, because I like to do both. I can do both. I would say really improving the quality of all those things, making money from it. That would be...
Oh, come on now, money and media.
That would definitely be a huge goal, because like I have the passion and drive to do this. Right. It's already in me. It's just, how can I extrapolate all of the juice from the squeeze? How about that? Right. Yeah. So that is basically the now what, or the what then, I mean, what now. Okay. But we got some time.
So this is your why. Like, this is why you wake up in the morning.
Is this my why? Wow. I guess this is a big part of it. Okay. A really big part of it. I think they kind of gave it away with the whole why I didn't stay with journalism. I didn't want to write. You can speak through your words that, are on a page or on paper or on screen, but I feel better when I get to really speak how I feel from the heart, from the body. And I don't really feel so great when I'm having to read to people or whatever. It's like, if I'm speaking to you and I'm really speaking to you, eye contact, everything, right? I think that's more impactful, and it comes naturally to me. Naturally, I get nerves, naturally, but I think after those first few initial nerves, speaking is fun. Right. I have fun with it, and I know that doesn't come easy to most people, because most people would literally rather die than speak in front of a crowd of people. Absolutely, so, and we all knew that. Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah. So it's like, when I heard that in my speech class, I said, "Really? That's how deep it is for y'all? Y'all would rather die than speak, bro." You give me a topic, I'll give you the best I can on this topic, and I'll speak. Or if I had to just come off the top, just talk about whatever I wanted, I could do that. But I know not everybody can do that.
So this is your why.
Yep. I love this. This is what I do. Yeah.
And what is that in correlation to when it comes to why you feel like you're here? When it comes to your purpose? Because you can love something, but it doesn't mean that it's your purpose.
No, I feel like I'm here to make an impact and let people know what's going on. Because, especially like in news and stuff, everybody is want to know what's going on, what's the latest happening. I feel like that's my purpose, to let people know what's going on, and to, when I do interviews, to get in people's business.
That's real. That's real.
Literally, to be nosy. That's
what we do.
I think we're all nosy. We just are nosy in a different way and with different people.
Everybody's business, just naturally, because I'm inquisitive. I want to know, why is the sky blue? Why is this like this? Why are you wearing that? That I've always been like that. So it just led to me wanting to tell people's stories. Like, my first story I ever told was the story of Claudette Colvin. I interviewed the first Black woman to protest on a bus before Rosa Parks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. If I'm not mistaken, I did check that out. Yeah. I think it's somewhere on Spotify. I think. And I was so grateful to even have the opportunity to speak to her and, tell her story yet again, because so quickly we forget about the person who was before Rosa Parks. So. Oh, right. Yeah. Because I remember when you told me about that, I was like, hold up, that's not a name that is as prominent. Like, if you can ask anybody on the streets who Rosa Parks is, and they'll be like, that's such and such, right? Yeah. But Claudette Colvin, I know it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking about this. So, do you have a news voice?
Yeah.
You do?
I mean, okay. I can have one, but I just choose not to.
Because I've had someone else on the podcast before, and she works, she's like a reporter as well, and a journalist. And it was just funny. Like, whenever people think of people on the news, they think of them speaking a certain way, code switching or whatever. And I remember I think when I used to tell people I was in journalism or studying communication, anything like that, they would think I wanted to be that. I was like, never do I want to do that. I want to be what's good, what's up. This was going on in the, you know what I mean? Like just little, like I want to come across how whenever you see me and wherever you see me as you would if you met me in person.
Yeah. That's why I like radio better.
So have you ever had a news voice? You ever had to do anything like that? Because that would be funny. I wouldn't ask y'all to do it.
Okay, so I'm from the metropolitan area. So we have naturally picked up like just a news reporter accent.
Yeah.
I just speak with a lot of clarity. Come outside of myself a little bit and try to figure out what's going on. Absolutely. I get a little confused. And then, but actually, if anything, what I had to work on was the tone of my delivery. Oh, baby, that tone was not professional. And when I moved to Alabama, they were like, why are you talking like that? Are you okay? Are you
like,
well?
Be a little nicer. Ease up.
And I was like, oh, wow, I didn't realize how aggressive I was. So I ended up toning it down so much because if the only thing in my way is the tone for me to get what I want from you, I can change my tone.
Oh, my God. Yo.
I can change my tone.
Bruh.
Whatever I need. If you get me from X to Y.
you are so funny, I swear. But I kind of want to talk about that a little bit because like we kind of just did, but if you feel like you have to code switch or kind of put on a character in the work you do.
No.
And I guess safely speak about that for yourselves however you can, but do you feel like you kind of have to do that?
It depends on the environment.
Okay.
So if I'm in a room full of corporate people, then I'm putting that on. But if I'm just out and I'm just like regular networking, then, it is what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
For me, I'm very consistent. I want you to know what you're buying.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't want you to one day see me out somewhere. You're like, who the hell is that? I want to be so consistent across the board because I want you to buy me. Mm-hmm. I don't want you to buy some inauthentic version of what you think might please you or be digestible because I'm not here for that.
Yeah.
At all. So, even in politics, I always kept it raw. Like, Sarah, you probably shouldn't say that. Like, that's not appropriate. And respectfully, because that's who I am. I'm graceful. I'm educated.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it to you just like that. So, yeah. But I'm not going to lose my flair just because it makes you a little uncomfortable or you feel like it's not deemed corporate because I get it done. I handle business, and that's what should reflect, not how you perceive my Blackness.
Like I said, we all podcast interview. I prefer for it to be considered a conversation because they can ask questions back. It's just, if I have a guest on, they'll probably let me ask most of the questions.
Right.
So that's why I've been enjoying the questions in between the three of us. But what would y'all say is the difference in what we do? Because I feel like we all, once again, are pretty nosy. We ask questions and, we either have been on platforms where we got to speak to people or have our own or both. And I've always wondered what's the difference at this, like basically in this day and age between a podcaster, a reporter, and then like you could say a media person or a correspondent. Because when you said correspondent, that's something I used to say I wanted to be. Like if I wanted to be on MTV, I used to think that was a, TV analyst or whatever. But a media correspondent, they get to ask questions, speak to people, be a personality on TV. So I'm wondering, what would y'all say is the difference amongst the, in the work that we do?
I was going to say, when you in podcasting, ain't no rules. Like, there are no rules in podcasting. You can do what you want because the industry is brand new, right? Yeah. So we all steadily learning as podcasters.
So not like brand new, but still baby phase. Yeah.
You can do what you want. Whereas if you're a reporter or you can't say or something like that, you got rules. Like, it's certain things that you can and can't say, right? Or if you want a podcast, you can give your opinion. If you doing news, you can't give your opinion, right? If you a correspondent, that's more like, entertainment, stuff like that. That's a lot more fun. And you might have little rules, but it's not as
big of the rules. Yeah, like news
it's
reporting.
Like in news and reporting and stuff like that.
Okay, you agree?
Yeah, on that end, absolutely. Yeah. Like as far as the way we have to function in our different capacities, there's a difference. Now, what I have tried to refrain from doing is even limiting myself to what I'm deemed as, which is why I call myself a conversationalist.
I like that.
I like that.
I like that.
See, I feel like you like that because you would say that you do that. Like you would say that you are as well.
I do a lot a lot of different things.
You have conversations in different media forms, right?
Yeah.
So essentially that's what I say is that I'm a conversationalist. So if you want me to do carpet, you want me to do a large scale, big event where we're like hosting and we're interacting with the crowd, or do you want to do a long form interview where we sit down and we just talk from your childhood to where we're at now in your future? Like whatever it is, I have the gift of gab. So wherever I can apply that gift, I want those doors to be open for me so I never limit myself.
Love it.
Okay. I had a feeling this was going to be good. Because I'm like, we all speak. We all talk a lot. We professional yappers, basically. Mm-hmm. But it's, because I'm just thinking about if, let's say we all had to do the same thing, mm-hmm. how it's going to look different, right? Because I feel like you have a very loud and bubbly personality, right? Mm-hmm. I would say I have, and I don't mean that.
No. It's loud and bubbly.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I would say that I'm more chill. Like reserved. I would never say reserved. I think your friend in the area that you kick it with and talk to like that.
Okay.
Right?
Your local homeboy.
Basically, right? I guess you can say that. I guess you can say that. And then, now this is me personally when I think of you, because I know that you have worked in, radio and reporting and things like that. I would think that you are also very chill as well, but you have maybe more of a professional demeanor about yourself than maybe I might. Right? Not to say I'm not professional, but you might be even more professional in the way that you may say things, may carry yourself and all that. And I just think it's interesting when we get to see the differences, maybe even in how we are literally speaking right now.
Absolutely.
I do, yeah.
I'm super animated.
And I think that because I feel like the differences that you see in us show up in where you see us the most, basically.
Absolutely.
Like, I feel like for you to have a very loud and, bubbly personality that probably does work well when you want to speak to celebrities and artists, because they are, big people, because they're, everybody wants to be that person, right? So for you to get close to that person, you have to do that. But for me to talk, like mostly people I talk to are my friends in the area or people
let me stop you right there.
Yeah.
In order to get close to that person, you don't necessarily have to do that, but understand that when you get close to that person, you probably would want to. Right. Because no matter who I'm interacting with, mind you, I don't believe in celebrification. We're all celebrities. I'm a celebrity.
Respect that.
Check my 3,000 followers. Like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? What is celebrity? I treat people.
What does that even mean?
What is that? I treat people and walk up to them the same way I would walk going, like, I don't care who you are. And so usually that's received well because I'm walking in with love. And I'm a firm believer in moving with love, because when you're moving with love, you're either going to receive love or people are going to realize like, oh, I don't want that. And they're going to move out of your way. And I prefer that. Just move them away. Don't take mine. But I'm always going to give it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And did you have anything that you wanted to add on that?
No, she hit it on the head. That was good. Yeah,
okay. I agree. Yeah, I just think that because after I met both of y'all, I think it was really after because I met you first. After I had met Rachel, I said, what if we had a conversation between a podcaster, a news reporter, and then a conversationalist?
Yeah.
Right? I was like, what if we did that? How would that look? Because I thought it would be like an experimental kind of thing, but I also thought the conversation would be really funny and interesting, because I know we're going to relate on a lot of things, but I know that there are other things that we won't relate on or agree on because of personal opinion or because of the work that we do.
Right.
Because like I was surprised that you said you didn't like to write, because I would think out of
everybody you'd be writing.
Yeah, like out of the three of us, I would think that you like no.
Nah.
Like, it's not for me.
No, but
it's not that. I mean, well, yeah, it is. I don't like it, but it's that, and then writing is so time consuming, and I just feel like when I'm on the air, like I feel like okay, like this right here. You see how we giving our personality right now?
Right.
I can write words, but you can't really like see my personality. You know what I'm saying? So camera. That's me.
Yeah. But it's so crazy. Like, okay, let's be honest. By 2020, nobody was even writing their papers. You were seeing your papers in your notes, taking that note, putting it on a Word doc. Yeah. If you're not doing this right now, kids, I don't know what you're doing. And then editing that into, the formal paper that needs to be. We stopped writing so long ago.
Yeah.
Journalists who are penned many ways through the doors. And it doesn't have to be just pen to paper. Let me put down this long, deep 8-page article about this artist. Like, yo, they're not going to read that. We're not going to read that. Let's shorten it, give us personality, give us feeling, give us education about the artist, but let's keep it brief. Like, we don't even receive content like we used to anymore. No one's sitting down and reading long form anymore. They're having it read to them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Reading time consuming too.
Reading is time
consuming
too.
It is.
Because I'm gonna tell you, if I have a choice between reading and watching a video, I'm watching the video. I'm watching the video.
Every time. That's why YouTube is.
Because I used to love reading. What was it, like middle school? I don't think it was necessarily because of the reading, but I came back from like a football practice and I was trying to read this book and I fell asleep. And I think because I fell asleep reading the book, the way I broke it down was reading is boring to me. So I stopped reading as much.
I'm the exact same way.
But when you read, like the more you read, usually, or what can happen is you actually become a little smarter. You sound like you actually know what you're talking about because you see the different sentence structures and different things like that. But even still, if you ask me to, like in college, whenever I was asked to write a paper, okay. So for example, I've asked other people this before. Like if you had to give me a paper or give me a test, I'm going to take a test because I don't want to write. I don't want to write the paper. Now, how would y'all feel if you had to do that?
I'm taking the paper because I'm not a good test taker.
Okay.
I'm taking the paper.
What would you say?
I'm taking the paper because I'm a great writer. I just don't like writing. You know what I'm saying? I'm a great writer.
We're good at it because we wouldn't have got this far if we
weren't good at it.
We just don't like
it.
Like,
I think, because if I'm not mistaken, in my papers, like I would do pretty good with writing my papers, but the whole process of having to write a paper, especially when you had to like cite your own work and all that, or cite work. The way I used to think about it was, so you telling me if I read this book and I come up with an idea, it's not my idea because I read the book. So I used to find myself, how you feel about that? Does that make sense? Does that not make sense?
It does, but go ahead.
The reason why I would do that or why I would trip on that is because I used to feel like I had to oversight. It's like, okay, I'm going to just say none of these ideas are my own. And then someone will say, where's your original thought? If I give you my original thought, you're going to say it wasn't mine.
It's not that none of the ideas was your own, but in order to formulate your own idea, you had to use other people's thoughts.
Yeah.
But saying it that way makes it seem as if you wouldn't have had that, because you probably wouldn't, but you would not have had that idea if you did not see these other ideas first. But because I had to read those to get mine, I used to feel like I had to cite theirs because there's no way I could get mine if I didn't see this idea. So that's why I used to, if you would give me a paper or a test, I would always take a test because writing papers used to stress me out. The whole process, it could be 5 pages. I was I would procrastinate, but if it was a 20-page paper, I was probably starting way sooner because I knew I couldn't be the one to write a paper in a 20-page paper in a night. Never. Like you have to give me at least probably 2 weeks to do it.
Yeah.
Whereas maybe y'all could finesse that. I couldn't. So that's why I think that kind of led me down the path I went.
Yeah, it's just for me, like I said, I'm not good at taking tests.
Yeah.
So I always prefer the papers. And it's like, the papers is open book or whatever. The test is not open book. So
me personally,
and I don't like to study. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
I'm one of those people. I'm very analytical, because the way I think of things, I want to know the source. I was fine with doing papers because, especially if it was like something I genuinely was interested in, anything political, really, I was going down a rabbit hole. And now I'm sitting here educating the class on information we didn't even grab in the class. So that's kind of how I was, just really interested in certain things.
Math was my subject, though.
I was
algebra.
I was very argumentative in history, so.
See, and it's still interesting seeing how even certain subjects we didn't like and how it maybe shows up because it's like, I don't know. Y'all would rather write the paper.
Yeah.
I would rather take the test.
Right.
But you also started talking about in STEM stuff you didn't like. Other than chemistry, I'm cool with everything. I'm like, I'll take all that because I like that kind of stuff. So it just makes me wonder if that kind of affects the stuff that we do and how we think about things. So I think all of that does play a part. But yeah. This has been really good. How y'all feeling?
This is a great conversation.
Great. This is good.
I've been enjoying
Literally,
this as well.
I could sit here for 3 more hours.
Y'all like great black men, great conversation. I'm having a time.
I've been enjoying this. But before we wrap up, I want y'all to talk about the favorite thing about the work that you do. Like, what's your favorite part about the work that you have the opportunity to do? And we'll start with you, Rachel. You know what? We started with you first.
No. Sorry, because I got my answer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got it.
Hey, Rachel.
The favorite thing about me doing what I do,
I'm gonna check something real quick,
is being able to control the Black stories I get to tell. The whole reason I even decided that journalism was what I wanted to do was because I was in politics and I felt like when I would look at a book and I looked at the author, I realized that we were getting information based off of somebody else's subjective opinion, based off of their experience, their human experience. Me being a Black woman, I have the opportunity to connect with my people and tell unheard Black stories, whether it be in hip hop, whether it be in politics, whether it be just culturally. That is something that I just could never take for granted, because if I don't tell the story, if I don't tell my people's story, who will tell it? Okay.
Yeah. All right. Tyrik, what about you?
For me, my favorite thing is doing the interviews, man. Talking to people, getting those stories from them, getting their life experiences. Because when you do an interview, you start talking to people about their stories and stuff, you gonna hear stuff you ain't heard. And they gonna say, sometimes people say stuff on my platform they ain't said nowhere else. Cause I done dug deep and got into the nitty and the gritty and stuff. And that's how you go viral on some videos too, making them reels off of that and stuff like that. But really the interviews, man, just talking to people, meeting people and stuff. Like, I've met so many great people, so many celebrities, well-known individuals, but
and I guess I'll say my favorite part about the work that I do, which sounds funny when I even say that, but it's really connecting with people. I've definitely wanted to kind of use this somewhat as a forum in a way to talk about different things that either affect us as, young people, or just talking about things that interest us and different things like that. I just wanted to kind of make this a space for people to be able to share their opinions, tell their stories, but a way for us to connect together. Because I think that, of course, there's a lot of hot button topics and interests that are out there, but I think that it's interesting when we could talk about some other kind of topics and things like that. And this is also allows me to do some of the things that I wanted to do, because in journalism, I didn't want to write, but I wanted to interview the person. I wanted to get to pick their brain. Whenever I said, hey, I want to talk to you about something, or I want to interview you specifically, they would say, they would feel really important, and they would want to, spill everything they got. And then also, you might not be able to, if I'm looking you dead in your eyes, talking right to you, you know what I'm saying? This medium for me is kind of where I am at my best. So, yeah, but I definitely want to say once again, I appreciate y'all for being guests on the highlight reel. And is there any last few things that y'all got for the people?
I did want to say this because I remember you talked about your favorite red carpet experience. I didn't get to talk about mine.
Okay.
My favorite red carpet experience, I was on the carpet and I was talking, Vivica Fox that came up to me, right? And this was literally right smack dab in the middle of COVID, right? And so I was I ain't know, like, this is when ain't nobody know nothing about COVID, so I still had my mask on and stuff like that. And she came up and I was about to interview her with my mask on. And so she came over, she took my mask off my face and she was like, okay, this is how we're going to do this, darling. And then we just started talking and stuff like that. And it was a great conversation. She good folks.
That's dope.
Okay.
I like that.
Did you have anything else that you wanted to share, Rachel?
Follow your girl, Rach Ashwell, all platforms.
Of course, I'm a plug, y'all. You already know.
But thank you so much for doing this. I was curious as to what inspired you to go this hard about your podcast. And I can see your vision and your passion and that fire and desire. Yeah. It excites me. Something that's so important about enthusiasm is that it's contagious and lack thereof is as well. So, just keep going as hard, as you're going, and keep striving. It's going to pay off.
Yeah, I'm piggyback off of that. Like when I seen you, I remember we were supposed to interview a couple months ago. and you was here in town. You was like, Tyrik, I got you next time.
I was like, please believe me, bro.
And then
please.
you reached out to me, and then that was your like persistence. I like that. And then when I seen you bring your equipment, I was like, oh yeah, he dedicated. He gonna go far. So.
I appreciate that.
And then you invested. Like, look at your stuff. You got some high quality equipment here. You know what I'm saying? Everybody ain't got this far yet.
No. Yeah. I appreciate that.
Like this.
I want to say one more time, thank y'all for being guests on the Highlight Reel. I appreciate y'all. I also want to say thank you to the listener and watcher of this episode. I hope that you've been able to take something away from my friends here, Rachel and Tyrik. Like I said to y'all, I'm going to plug their information in the description of this episode so y'all can check them out, tap in with them, maybe get some news from them, get some media news from them. You know, we're going to different folks, different strokes, different folks, all that good stuff. You get what I'm saying? But I'm definitely gonna make sure that you can tap in with them because I'm gonna have their information in the description. But with that being said, that's been your episode. So let me go ahead and instruct y'all one more time. You're gonna look there, you're gonna look there, and we're gonna say peace out. So all right, peace out.